We went through another entire January transfer window without making a single senior signing. This is becoming quite the theme. But there was indeed action in the window for Arsenal, and we're going to discuss that and Mikel Arteta's press conference in which he provided some positive news that we definitely needed, considering the big injuries that have just occurred. This is today's Arsenal transfer show, the last of, well, for now, 2026. Hello and welcome to the Gooner Talk, back again with you guys and girls for another episode of what is indeed the Arsenal Transfer Show, joining you every single morning at 8 a.m. UK time. Thank you so much as always for joining me and making this a part of your morning routine. Hope you're doing good. Hope you're doing well. Thank you so much as always for tuning in. Hope you're doing as best as can be hoped on the 3rd of February. I almost said 1st of February these days, but the January window actually extends itself into February. Good morning to Matt G, to Scouse Gooner, to Claire, to Beanie Bun, to Rich. We've got John in the chat, Mohammed, Black Shine, Claire, Simple Unity, Dara and Mark. We've got Ken and Jeffrey and Rich. Good morning to Tom and Paul, Arasilki, Mr. Knowledge, Carl, Dave, Lennon. Thank you so much, all of you, for tuning in. Greatly appreciate your time, and I hope you have an absolutely fantastic rest of your week. It is match day, of course, in the League Cup semi-final. Arsenal taking on Chelsea tonight at the Emirates Stadium with a 3-2 lead from their first leg match. I'll be in attendance a little bit later on today in the press box as we look to hopefully see Arsenal reach their first final since 2020, believe it or not. That is the last time Arsenal managed to reach a final, and hopefully this will be another one for Arsenal to go all the way in. That unbeaten record at Wembley needs to be kept intact, with Arsenal hopefully picking up their first piece of silverware in nearly 6 years. Good morning to those joining us. Let's jump straight into today's stories, though, because this is going to be a little bit of a quick show. I've got a hectic day, and I've got an appointment at 9, so and it's like a half-hour drive away. So this might be a quick, maybe even the quickest show we've done, but we'll see how much we get through, and hopefully we'll still be able to tackle some of your comments and questions in the chat box as well. We start with the transfer window because yesterday was indeed transfer deadline day. No senior level signings for Arsenal, but as expected, as reported previously in the window, Arsenal were active in the youth market. They've managed to bring in a couple of players and not exactly for like high profile fees or anything like that. But the first is Evan Mooney, who has joined Arsenal from St Mirren. They confirmed a £400,000 move plus add-ons for Mooney, which sees him join the club. He's a forward player, can play in kind of the attacking positions, mainly on the right, but has played through the middle as well. He's already made his debut at the Scottish senior level, has played plenty of games actually for St Mirren at the Scottish Premiership level, and will join Arsenal's youth ranks as an 18-year-old, but with hope of potentially making a step up in the future. Best of luck to Evan, and hopefully he can succeed at Arsenal as this push for an improvement in the roster of young talent continues. I broke the story yesterday regarding the £500,000 fee that Arsenal have agreed with Stoke City for a move for Jayden Dixon. This comes following Fabrizio Romano initially breaking the story in general. Arsenal, my understanding is, will pay £500,000 to Stoke City for Jayden Dixon, who is a very sought-after young defender, currently playing for Stoke, as mentioned. He can play and has played at England under 19s level, and is already being kind of marked as somebody that is expected to go through those England youth ranks even higher. Chelsea were very keen on him in the summer. There are a number of other clubs as well that were keen on him, and Arsenal are considered to have beaten quite a number of teams to the signature of Jayden Dixon. So centre-half can play on the right as well, so could play and has played at right back as well. He's not played senior football this season, but did make his debut last season for Stoke in the Championship, but has mainly been playing at youth level during the current campaign. But he is considered quite the coup for Arsenal, and a talented young player as well, who will be in competition with the likes of Marley Salmon to try and get into the Arsenal senior squad on occasion as well. On Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain, Mikel Arteta did not rule out Arsenal making a move for Oxlade-Chamberlain. He said that we're open to all options and said nothing in the way of saying, no, Alex is not a considered option for Arsenal. And just because the deadline has indeed closed does not mean that Arsenal still could not sign Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain, because free transfers, free agents can still sign for clubs. He could indeed sign before Thursday's deadline for registration. That is when the Premier League clubs will re-register their teams. So Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain has until Thursday to find a club and be registered. There is an exception, however, if a club does not use all of their 25 spaces when they register their squad on February 5th, the deadline for that next registration period would be March 26th. Now, that would include Arsenal, because Arsenal have only registered 21 of their 25 potential slots, because both Mosquera and Miles Lewis-Skelly currently do not count on the Premier League list and are registered under the under-21s list. That will change for Mosquera for next season. He will go on to the senior list, so that will make 22 of 25. And you have to also remember that Arsenal at the moment have a number of players who are currently out on loan, and some of those will not return. Of course, Kivior, we don't expect to return from loan at all. He will join Porto permanently in the summer. Fabio Vieira, there is an option in that Hamburg loan, but he could also return to Arsenal in the summer, as could Reece Nelson as well, who's currently on loan at Brentford. No signs of that deal being made permanent either. So it could be that 25-man squad increases, and of course that leaves Arsenal space to recruit in the summer transfer window. But it also leaves space if Arteta and the team decided as much to offer Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain a short-term deal, they still could do before those two deadlines. And as mentioned, yes, Mikel Arteta speaking at his press conference yesterday on a number of topics. He did say that Arsenal were active. They were looking for potential solutions, because he gave updates on the likes of Mikel Merino, of course, who's just suffered quite a significant injury, which is a real blow for Arsenal. A real significant blow, in fact, for Arsenal, because seeing the impact that Mikel Merino has had over the course of not just this season, but last season as well, we know how important he is for Arsenal. And Arteta said, well, we hope so, in terms of being kind of back soon as well than is expected, and back before the end of the season. But I don't know. Obviously, he needs to go through a procedure, which is never always positive. He's a big player for us, an athlete that has such a versatility and capacity to compete in various positions, and that's a blow. It's a very rare injury, so we have to wait and see once we have the surgery how that reacts daily. Obviously, monitor it throughout the week for surgery. I know Mikel is going to be absolutely doing everything he can, possibly, to come back as quick as feasibly possible indeed. And as well, he has to respect the healing process, and that fact obviously is an injury that is quite rare. So yeah, it's not ideal situation. He did confirm that he's got a fractured foot, which is this is why initially it was hoped that it wasn't too serious, but after seeing the specialist, the result has indeed been that it's a fractured foot, which is really not ideal, especially with the World Cup coming up as well. He did confirm that there's no new injuries from the weekend, and we're aware of any issues that are currently in the team. He was asked specifically for an update on Bukayo Saka, and he said, we have to wait. Today, on, of course, Monday, he was better, but we have to wait and see, have a response, and then make a decision. It doesn't look like something too serious. Whether he's going to be available for tomorrow or the weekend, we will see. So, really positive update for Saka. Doesn't seem like it's serious at all. And certainly the feeling is that he'll be returning sooner rather than later, whether that's tonight or at the weekend, as Arteta says. We will have to wait and see what happens. But yes, he was asked about the deadline and transfers, and he said, of course, when you lose a big player like this in the squad with 4 months to go and all the competitions to play for, you need to look, and we need to do everything that we can possibly do to see if there is a player that is available, and if we don't, we keep what we have. And that seems to be what Arsenal are doing, unless, of course, there is any late free agents that Arsenal decide to register before Thursday's second of three deadlines. Ethan Nwaneri, since going out on loan as well, I asked Arteta about Ethan going out on loan, scoring his first goal for Marseille, and whether or not when he saw that goal, he thought, brilliant for him, or was there an element of regret? thinking maybe he could have been doing that for us. And he says, yes, but we made that decision. Now what I would love to see from Ethan is to score that goal every 3 days. He plays a lot of minutes. He gets the exposure that he needs. He continues to grow mentally, physically, and all the technical and tactical aspects that are necessary at this level. And that's the reason we've done it, because we believe that was the right context and the right coach for him to do that. And hopefully that's going to happen. I further asked Arteta, I said, the understanding was there was not a break clause in the loan that you could say in an emergency, bring him back. Did you do that with the mindset of that we're sending him out there and he's going to get important experience over the next 6 months? And he said, well, to be fair, that's more of Andrea and Sam Habel in this case. They're more in charge of deciding the negotiations, because it's not only what we want, it's what other clubs expect, and the player that is going to join them and the way that he commits to that club as well. So yeah, it was confirmed yesterday that Ethan did not have any kind of clause to allow Arsenal to bring him back before the end of the January transfer window. He will be with Marseille until the end of the campaign. So that is the scenario, the situation that we find ourselves in with Waneri. I don't think that's any surprise really to any of us. But the game, of course, tonight is against Chelsea. And Arteta was asked about the competition. He says, we go day by day, competition by competition. Tomorrow we have a really tough game against a very good Chelsea side. We have the home advantage. We have a good result, but we still have a lot to do tomorrow at the end, right the way in the final. Now, there was quite an interesting exchange in the embargo section that I do want to run through with you from yesterday as well. John West, freelancing a lot for The Sun and the I paper as well, speaking to Arteta after that press, well, at the end of kind of the press conference embargo. So it was the last kind of questions, if you like, from that press conference. Effectively asked around this idea of the cup competition being like the least important one. It's better if you watch it. I'll read you the quotes, but there was obviously, it's not going to come across the same. He said, a lot of clubs don't really care about the Carabao Cup. Arteta said, which clubs? John said, the ones who play the kids and get knocked out early usually, but you were at City, who used to keep up winning, a habit going. Do you want the same for the Gunners? And he says, it's something that has changed a lot over the years with the Carabao Cup and how the competition is being approached, but we are on it. You have to prioritise at some point in relation to squads and circumstances that you have. We have had years where we have been very much struggling with numbers and we had to play other kinds of players, but now we are in a different situation. John said, it is the least important competition of the four, though. He said, you two have to agree. You say it is the least. He says it is the most. It is tomorrow and the one that we really want to play. And John said, there has been a lot of noise about the style that you're playing. Do you care how cups are won and so long as they get one? Arteta said, it depends. I would have to analyse about which teams they are talking about, which styles and in which kind of game. The game that we expect tomorrow is going to be very specific. I'm very clear about what is going to happen. We have to play very well the game that we have to play, because it is not only what we have to do, but, of course, for the opponent. John carried on saying, people are saying Arsenal's style is not exciting, though. Arteta said, I hear completely the opposite. All around Europe, that we are the most exciting team in Europe, the most goals, the most clean sheets, the most this, the most that. Maybe I have different resources. Why then, Arteta, is there such disparity of views at home and abroad? And Mikel said, I don't know which people. You send me the names, the addresses, and the emails, and maybe we can talk. But I can't give you a massive book of all the people. What about Paul Scholes of Manchester? Arteta said, good. Thank you very much. So it was indeed quite it was an engaging, fun kind of back and forth. You could tell Arteta got a little bit kind of closed up at the end, and but it was entertaining. Certainly, I recommend you go and watch it. I think you'll be able to see it on the Haters website, of course, on YouTube. So go and give it a glimpse and a watch at the end there. But it was, it's been a few weeks now. There's going to be kind of these Issa and Khan, of course, the Mail asked a question about Kepa Arrizabalaga, but didn't pronounce it that way. And Arteta really hammered him on the pronunciation of Kepa's name. So yeah, he was on it. And Chunho says, I reckon that journalist will not be let into the press conferences again. Chunho, he will, because that's just not how things work, mate. So, I don't know where people get this idea from, that people get banned from press conferences. And the whole time I've been working, I've never known anyone basically to be told you probably shouldn't come back. I've never, ever, ever known that to happen. It's free press. Free press is important. Right, let's have a look, shall we, at today's game against Chelsea. This is what I would personally go for in today's game, with the players, of course, that are available and not available at the moment. Kepa in goal, keeping his place as the cup goalkeeper. Jurriën Timber at right back. William Saliba and Gabriel in the middle of defence. Calafiori making his first start return at left back. So obviously he started his last game in the Champions League game against Cairo as left centre half, but this will be his first start at left back. Zubimendi in defensive midfield, Declan Rice in the left 8 role, and Martin Ødegaard as the number 10, giving Kai Havertz a bit of a rest before the weekend when I expect him to come back in. I look forward to Kai coming back in as well. Martinelli on the right-hand side. Eza, I'd like to see start on the left, and Gyökeres up top. That's the team I would like to see, not the team I expect to see. This is always the team that I would like to play in the game. I think Chelsea obviously have to attack, and that means that Arsenal should hopefully have some more space and availability to use some players like Martinelli, like Ødegaard, like Eza. Whether or not these players are used. Arteta was asked a few times about Eza in yesterday's press conference, talking about the space. He was asked by Sam Dean as well about the game against Aston Villa and this idea that, he made that mistake against Aston Villa. Has that been something that's kind of been on our minds and something that's been in his mind, if you like, as well? But no, he's basically said that's not something that he's been thinking about, or something that he's not been. It's not something that he's kind of looked at and said, yeah, now he gets punished and he's going to sit in the stands for 3 weeks. It's just to do with the opponents, is what was said. So, but make of that what you will. Be interested to see if Kepa does keep his place. He's had a little bit of a few off moments, I would say, in recent games. But, this is what I go for. Let's get some of your predictions in the chat box. What scoreline are you going with tonight? Are Arsenal going to try and hold out for a draw and go through with just that single goal advantage? Or do you think Arsenal tonight are going to go through with a significant goal win and having won both legs home and away? Let me know what you think is going to happen. Mohammed says 4-0 to the Arsenal. Says 1-1. Donny says 2-0. Maria says 1-1. Mo says 0-0. Mr. Knowledge says 3-1. NSW says 2-0. Z says 1-1. Geeta says 3-1. Red Skull says 2-1. LSG is going for a resting Timber for this one. Amberley says 4-1. And D is going for a 2-1 victory. And Runs of Cows going for a 3-1 win. You can get a win yourself, of course, by going to nordvpn.com/Gooner and get yourself a significant discount off a 1 or a 2-year plan with 4 months extra thrown in free on top of that too. There's a 30-day money-back guarantee. I just want to take a second to thank Nord for their support over this latest run of advertisements. They help support the channel. They help make things possible like live events. They help make the infrastructure of the show even better. So everything that you see, the quality of the microphones, the studio around me, could not be possible without the help of platforms like Nord, who do support us. So massive thank you to Nord, and make sure you go and check them out. nordvpn.com/Gooner. Go and get yourself a significant discount off those plans that keep you safe on the internet and gives you the ability to listen to your favorites while you're abroad. Right, let's go to part 3. Your questions in the next 5 minutes or more right after this. Right, I reckon I've got about max 5 minutes to tackle some of your questions. So let's go through a few of these quickly before I have to jump off. Roy says, Tom, is it true that there are to be safe standing areas at the clock end this evening? I think so. I think there was suggestions that was the case, wasn't it? That there would be safe standing for Chelsea fans in the upper tier as well for this game, because you have to allocate a larger allocation for away games in cup competition. So yes, I believe that is the case, that there will be some temporary safe standing measures put in place for the Chelsea supporters to allow us to basically have that many and not have the situation we had with the United supporters. Maria says, that is a great mic. Someone kept calling you Rod in Seeing Red pod yesterday. Oh, do you mean Roda? I'll make sure. Yeah, I don't know if it's Rod because it's just the Rudegaard, but it's Ruda. Bailey says, not a question, but if Noni plays, I'd like to see some more physicality out of him. He got bullied all over the park last time, and I'd like to see him give it a bit back. He's a bit too soft. It's in his style. He's more of a technical player. He hasn't got that physical edge. Saka, of course, has that physical ability as well. So, yeah, I'm curious to see if Noni can take that on board. SYC says they better get some quick yellows on Enzo and Cucurella. yeet them again like Traore did. I mean, I think I watched that video about 50 times by that point. Let's go to Blee Blee Blah says, why do you think Arteta will start Eze and Ellie? I don't. That's my desired 11, not my predicted 11. If you want to read my predicted 11, you can go do that on the football.london website. So head over to the football.london website. In fact, I'll leave a link to it in the chat box, and you can read my predicted 11 on the FL website. So go give it a read over there. Tom says, what is the safe standing thing? Could you explain for us in the back? Sure. So in cup competitions, you have to give a larger allocation of seats to away supporters. Against Man United, Arsenal basically didn't fulfill the requirement to give Man United all the fans they needed. The fans ended up coming round to the press box. We had like Man United fans all around us because it extended all the way around the side of the stadium. And there was an empty section in the upper tier of the clock end. Now, this time, they're going to be implementing safe standing, which is kind of like these barriers to allow you to be able to stand and not have that safety and health and safety concerns present. So, yeah, you should see Chelsea fans in the upper tier and the lower tier tonight, I believe, if my information and understanding of the situation is correct. But it's only temporary, so but it's something that could change maybe in the future. Dylan says, sorry, mate, I missed the start of the show. Quick summary on Bukayo, please. First-time live listener, long-time Spotify listener. You can rewind the show, Dylan. In short, injury not as bad as first thought. Samuel says, Tom, a calamity happened before this video started. The advert that played was for a VPN, but it wasn't for... Goodness me, they're coming for us. NordVPN. Backhand says, do you think that we should have done a 6-month loan for Harvey Elliott? Other teams have terminated loans and loaned them to different teams. I don't think so. Arsenal losing Mikel Marino. You want to see more of a versatile figure. I think Harvey Elliott, I don't think serves that purpose necessarily. I just don't see that. Nor do I see Liverpool agreeing to loan Arsenal Harvey Elliott. Claire says Tony Adams has been complimenting Arteta. It's nice to see Tony Adams complimenting players instead of saying that we won't win the league with Odegaard as our captain. Fizzy says, I really want us to wrap up the league before the last 5 games so Kepa can feature in those and get a medal. Yeah, it's challenging, isn't it? Very challenging to see that happen. Vacan says, do you think that we should have done a 6-month loan for Harvey Elliott? No, I've kind of touched on that before. A lot of people saying we should have gone in for Harvey Elliott. I don't think so. Nor do I think Liverpool would have sanctioned it. Culture Mark says, Tom, do you know if Cucurella is playing tonight? Because the last I heard, he was lost in the shed end. That's where Traore ended up throwing him. I think he will be playing, yes. Esteval is not available for tonight's game. I believe, I don't know if it is accurate or not. I know he's been going through something personally difficult. I think he's in compassionate leave. So whatever he's going through, of course, thoughts are currently with the youngster. Liam Rossigna said he won't put any pressure on him to be back for Tuesday's Carabao Cup semi-final game. So hopefully everything is okay. Right, we're going to wrap the show up there. I'm really sorry it's a short show today, but I've got a lot on and I've got a bit of a drive to do this morning for an appointment. So do bear with, and I'll be back with you tomorrow morning for a longer show where we'll be talking about the game in detail. Hopefully Arsenal can wrap up the win this evening. If you want to read my predicted 11, of course, as I said before, go over to the football.london website. If you're unable to watch the game for whatever reason, you'll be able to stay up to date with the fixture on the football.london website tonight, of course, as well. So make sure you head over there for that. If you want to see and read some more information about Arsenal's signings, including Jaden Dixon, of which I broke the story around the £500,000 deal yesterday, you can go read that further over there as well as the entire transcript from Mikel Arteta's broadcast section of the press conference. Thanks for listening. Drop a like on the video. Have a fantastic day. Stay safe, stay well, stay happy and respectful. And as always, up the Arsenal for the last transfer show of the season. We'll be back with a new show, of course, on Wednesday. See you soon. And as always, up the Arsenal.